welcome to Sweepy Tales with Radhika. Today's story is about a little fairy. And you know why fairies are so special? Yes, because of their beautiful wings. But this particular fairy in our story is in search of her mysteriously lost wings. Well, she's beginning her journey of finding out where they are and who stole them from her. Come, let's join the hunt. On the very edge of a forest, there grew an old oak tree. But this was no ordinary tree. Aside for the chipmunks, birds, bugs, and beetles, it was a home to very special little beings. They had wings, yes, and their beds were oak leaves. They were called the fairies. With the appearance of a normal person, their size was that of a bumblebee wearing clothes made of grass and flower petals and skirts made of shallow acorns. The fairies lived on the oak tree, having their little rooms carved in the bark. They were spending their days waiting for the summer days, their favorite time of the year. Once the summer comes, they begin to come out of their homes, flying with butterflies and bees, enjoying themselves in the sweet juices of fruits and flowers. Fairies enjoy discovering new places and new green meadows in search of undiscovered plants and flowers. You shouldn't underestimate the fairies, as they love themselves a bit too much and tend to be harsh and impolite towards other living things in their surroundings. One such little fairy with soft shirt made of rose petal and a corn skirt was minding her business one evening, preparing herself to sleep. She was very tired because she spent the whole day collecting apple juice. She laid on her oak leaf bed, rested her head on her arms, and fell asleep. The night passed, and the sun shone upon the oak tree. She felt sudden warmth on her body and yawned while stretching her arms. She sat up and rubbed her eyes. "What a beautiful morning!" she said, and stood up on the leaf. "I could eat some pollen from that dandelion over there." She thought and jumped in the air so she could fly to the flower. Suddenly and unexpectedly, she started soaring down the tree, falling fast. "What is happening? Where are my wings?" The fairy was yelling in fear while falling down. She hit the giant wild rose that grew by the oak tree and landed on the ground. "I can't believe I don't have my wings. Who stole my wings?" She was so scared in disbelief of not knowing what happened to her wings. "I must find them. I can't live without them." She stood up and cleaned her knees of dirt. After she stood there for a couple of minutes, she started thinking of a possible thief who took her wings. Who could it be? She thought to herself, "I'm going to find out." The fairy walked to the little burrow in the tree trunk and entered through the small door made of tree bark. "Hello, anyone here?" she asked while going in. "Who is asking? What do you want?" Little brown chipmunk was approaching the fairy. "I'm looking for my wings. Have you seen them?" she asked and started searching through the room. turning the table and opening closets and drawers. They're not here. Could you stop doing that? It's not polite to just get in someone's house and start to open things and make mess. The chipmunk was angry, waving his tail left and right. Who cares what is polite? I want my wings. She nodded her head and continued to make clutter. You should leave before I call my friends and they won't be as polite as I am. The chipmunk started pushing surprised Fairy out of his house. She fell on the ground and wasn't aware of what she did wrong. She continued her search and saw a big bumblebee feasting on a freshly opened rosebud. Hello, did you steal my wings? Yours are quite similar to mine, so I bet those are my wings you're having. She pointed towards the fat bumblebee. I'm sorry, what? He was flying above her and landed next to the fairy. Did you call me a thief? Of your wings? Why should I wear fairies' wings? That's ridiculous. He buzzed at her face and messed up her hair. Yes, you did. You stole my wings. You thief, you robber. The fairy started pulling his wings. Give them back. She pulled. There were a dozen of bumblebees flying over them, overseeing the strange situation. They decided they should intervene and descended down. What's the trouble here? Asked the biggest one and stepped forward the fairy. She thinks I stole her wings and that I'm wearing them right now. The hurt bumblebee wrested from the fairy. He hid behind his friends. You shouldn't go around making accusations if you're not sure, little one. That is a rude thing to do. She was warned by one of the bumblebees. Fine, have it your way. I don't care about being rude. I want my wings back. She turned her back on them and carried on. After a while, she felt very tired and exhausted. She couldn't go up the tree and in her bed. She spent some time thinking where to go and where to hide, because soon enough the sun will be gone and the ground is no place to be on for a little defenseless fairy. The only place she could think of was that chipmunk's house in the tree. The night came soon and the little fairy started to feel fear and insecurity. She ran to the door and this time, instead of just breaking in, she knocked on the door and awaited reply. An old chipmunk opened the door and put on his reading glasses. Yes, what do you want? He asked bluntly when he recognized the fairy from before. She stopped for a second. I'm sorry for being rude to you some time before. I know I should have asked for your permission to get in, and I apologize for being disrespectful to you, she said quietly and leaned her head forward. Now that is a very polite thing to say. Saying that you are sorry can be hard sometimes, but if you do, it can only help you, replied the chipmunk and invited the humble fairy inside. Can I please sleep here? As you've noticed, I can't find my wings and can't go up to my room. She sat on a little wooden chair. Sure you can, you apologized, and I accept your apology. I will give you my bed and I'll sleep on the floor. We can start finding your wings tomorrow morning, said the chipmunk, and made himself a little pillow out of moss. The morning came, and both the fairy and the chipmunk were having breakfast. "Where do you think your wings could be?" he asked the fairy while eating a corn soup. "I don't know," she frowned. After the breakfast, they got out of the house. Fairy stretched her arms and saw the same bumblebee as day before. She felt anxious and unhappy. "I've seen how you attacked that poor bug. He probably felt terrible and scared by you when you pulled his wings. It looked awful," said the chipmunk and nodded his head in discontent. "I think you should apologize to him also. If you do so, you would feel better and he would definitely feel better as well." The chipmunk halted. "You're right. I was wrong and attacked him for no reason. Poor little creature." The fairy agreed and walked towards the bumblebee. "Hey you, come down!" she yelled and waved her hand. The bumblebee recognized the fairy and was very reluctant to trust her, but he came down nevertheless. "I want to apologize to you and tell you I'm sorry for attacking you. You must have felt horrible. I'm sorry for hurting you," she cried. "Oh, well, that's okay. Thank you for saying sorry. It means a lot to me." The bumblebee burst in joy and hugged the crying fairy. "You must feel very sad for not knowing where your wings are. I can help you find them," he said and whistled to his flying friends. Soon there was a swarm of bugs flying over them. "This little fairy apologized to me and asked if we can help her search for her wings. Go and fly over this oak tree and around it to see if her wings are stuck somewhere," said the bumblebee and started to search as well. The day was slowly passing by and the fairy was jumping all around in hope of finding her wings. She searched under the grass leaves, between the dandelions and daisies, and among the fallen oak leaves. The chipmunk was also running everywhere, climbing on the big oak tree, investigating the branches, and questioning other fairies who weren't rude and were willing to talk. Out of a sudden, a loud yell was heard across the meadow. "They are here! Your wings are here!" The bumblebee was buzzing around and came down in a hurry, carrying Fairy's wings. She jumped out of joy in the air and laughed loudly. "I can't believe it! My wings! Where did you find them?" She took them from the bumblebee and put them on. They were underneath that oak leaf over there. He was pointing towards a place where her room was located. "You mean you found them underneath my bed? Nobody stole them? But I lost them." She was surprised and ashamed in the same time. "I think you should thank this bug and all the other bumblebees who were helping you to find them. It's a nice thing to do. Say thank you," whispered the chipmunk to Fairy's ear. "Thank you so much," she said. "I won't have my wings without you helping me. And thank you, Mr. Chipmunk, for allowing me to sleep at your place and for helping me too." She felt grateful and fulfilled. She learned many things while her wings were missing. Being rude and impolite does not help you at all. Nobody likes people who are disrespectful to others, and having bad manners rejects everyone around you. Saying I'm sorry is hard, but if you do use it when you're guilty, it opens up every door. The little fairy learned that by respecting others' efforts, saying thank you is encouraging thing to do. By thanking others for their help and support, she made a lot of new friends. Even though she was rude to the chipmunk and bumblebee, once she apologized to them, they forgave her and even volunteered to help her find her wings. I'm so happy I learned so much from you, concluded the fairy while flying next to the old chipmunk. I'll thank everyone for anything and apologize for anything I make or think wrong. I feel so much better when I know people are happy to be my friends. She blinked to the chipmunk and flew up to her oak leaf. She laid on it, folded her precious wings, and closed her eyes. The day was over, and so was the search of her missing wings. Well, my dear sweet peas, while looking for her wings, the fairy comes to a conclusion that being rude and impolite doesn't help anyone, and through her search adventure, she got to know the true meaning of I'm sorry and thank you. Well, I think we all can remember that. Till we meet next with another wonderful story, do keep listening and keep sharing with all the lovely friends around you. Bye bye, sweet dreams.